Hello, everybody. Tonight I would like to cover more about abuse. And I'm not talking physical abuse, I'm talking emotional and mental abuse. So, the other day I talked about it in some detail, but today I want to go into more detail on it. So, from my own personal experiences with mental and emotional abuse, it leaves a person feeling like they no longer know who they are. They feel so depleted of energy because the individuals that are the abusers are emotional vampires. So what they do, instead of draining your blood, they drain your energy, your mental, physical, and emotional well-being. And as a result, you become more depressed, more anxious, and much more on edge. Some people even develop PTSD-like symptoms. Because mental and emotional abuse is still trauma. It is. And trauma changes the brain. Trauma causes physical damage to the brain, usually to the prefrontal cortex. So, I want to go into detail about how my experience with emotional and mental abuse was and is. So I am just now able to leave it all behind me. But before I was emotionally and mentally abused, I was a bubbly, happy-go-lucky young woman. And I hardly ever felt down. I mean, I've always struggled with depression due to other factors. But that was well managed. That was under control. However, when I moved with, I'm not going to call her my friend anymore because she's no longer my friend, but I would like to keep this video professional. When I moved with my roommate back in January, at first things seemed great. We got along. But then the red flags started popping up. She'd ask me if I could buy her stuff, and she would do this weekly. Every time I would get paid, she would ask me if I could buy her something. Now, let's take it to this. Okay. I would buy her something, but she would never, ever pay me back. Yet, when she bought me something, I always had to pay her back. And if I didn't pay her back right away, she would get mad. She would get mad and she would start belittling me and calling me all sorts of names that you can possibly think of that are mean. Now, she's not one to take responsibility for her behavior. She does never take ownership for her behavior. And typically, this is what's typical of narcissistic abusers, and that's what she is. They do not take ownership for the way they treat you. They do not feel remorse, they have no guilt, and they have no capacity for empathy. They will use you and abuse you, and you can do everything good and everything right and be nice to them until you're blue in the face, and that won't be enough for them. They don't care. They don't care about your feelings. Now, my experience with mental and emotional abuse may be different than yours. See, you might be going through something similar that falls into that context, but your experience may be completely different from mine. Everyone's experience is their own. Now, I can understand what you're going through because I'm going through it or have gone through it. I'm in the process of healing. I am removing myself from the toxic environment, and I am actually moving to another state to be closer to my family who love me and care about me and don't want to see me be abused. But the healing journey, again, just like the abuse is different for everyone, the healing journey is going to be different as well. But the healing journey doesn't happen overnight. It starts when you remove yourself from the toxic environment and get away from toxic people. It starts when you're around healthier people in a healthier environment. Because until you get out of that situation, you can't heal and you won't heal. I want to be the girl that I used to be before I was mentally and emotionally abused by my roommate. I spent all this time thinking that she was my best friend. But I was blinded by love. I was blinded by empathy. I was blinded by compassion. I would always give her the benefit of the doubt. I would always tell myself, she's going to change. She's going to get better. You know, I really, truly believed that. And I think, like I said, I was blinded by love and everything else. And I didn't see that she was abusing me. I didn't see that until later. But every time that I did or said something that, or confronted her with the truth about something, or confronted her about her behavior, she would automatically go into a rage. This is called narcissistic rage. Narcissistic rage is when someone with narcissistic personality gets angry, very, very angry, when you confront them on something. They do not like being confronted. They think they are perfect, and they think they are above you and everyone else. So when you confront them or call them out on their behavior, they will rage, and they will try to destroy you. I never imagined myself being in an abusive situation like that. I never thought that someone would take advantage of me, use me, manipulate me, and hurt me in order to feel better about themselves. But that's exactly what happened. You don't think it'll happen to you until it does. Narcissistic abuse is real. It is. And sometimes you're so caught up in the abuse that you don't even realize it's abuse until you are told that it is, until you start feeling depleted and lifeless. I mean, I don't know how else to describe it other than I felt lifeless. I felt like all of the energy in life was sucked out of me at once. I felt like, what can I do? What am I doing wrong? Like, something's wrong, but I didn't know what it was. I didn't know it was abuse. I just thought that, maybe I'm getting lazy, or maybe something's wrong with me. And that's what the narcissist wants you to believe. They want you to believe that you're the one with the problem, not them. See, a narcissist will typically gaslight you, and that's what gaslighting is. They make you feel like you're the crazy one, like you're the one with the problems, like you're the one that needs help, when in reality, it's them that needs that help. It's them that's crazy. It's them the one that's with the problem. But you don't realize that, and sometimes you don't realize that until it's too late. Reality check, though. It can take time to heal from these things. It can take time to even realize you're being used and abused. It can take time to unravel the lies that you've been told. And the thing about it is, the narcissist, as long as you are around them, they have narcissistic supply, and they will use you as bait. They don't care about your feelings. They only want you because they're afraid of being rejected. They're afraid that if they don't get their narcissistic supply, they're going to die. And that's genuinely what they feel. And part of this is because they have no sense of self. They have no sense of self. So they latch onto others like leeches and parasites in order to feel some sense of normalcy. Narcissistic personality disorder is a very serious mental disorder. It falls kind of along the same lines of psychopath or sociopath. And unfortunately, these individuals hardly ever change. If they do, it's usually all manipulation tactic. It's never genuine. I used to constantly, the thing is I used to constantly tell myself, this girl is a good person. She's a great person. She's awesome. She's amazing. She's all these wonderful things. But little did I know, I was wrong. I was wrong. And it almost cost me my sanity and my emotional and mental well-being. You know, these people are very good at putting on a facade. They're all about show and game. They are not real. They are not genuine. And they will fake it until they make it, basically. I spent so much time thinking that there was something wrong with me. But I couldn't put my finger on it. I kept thinking, what's going on with me? Why am I getting more and more depressed? Why am I not having any energy? Why am I not being able to do the things I used to love to do? Like, what is my problem? I kept blaming myself because I thought I was the problem. I genuinely believed that. I didn't think that she was the culprit of my problems. Never once did that cross my mind. But the thing with a toxic person with narcissistic personality disorder is that they will make you believe that you're the crazy one and that they're the sane one. And I spent all that time wondering, do I need help? Do I need to see a shrink? Because clearly something's the matter with me. But a friend of mine helped me to understand that what she was doing was using me and abusing me and manipulating me. What she was doing is hurting me. And the fact that my roommate never took responsibility or accountability for her behaviors towards me was a huge red flag. And for the longest time, I missed that red flag. I never noticed it. But now that I look back, I remember everything that she did and said to me. And I realize that that is not normal behavior. People don't act like that. That's not healthy. I'm just glad that I'm one of the lucky ones, because there are individuals who are abused who don't make it out of the situation alive. Some of them are murdered. This is a serious problem. Some of the victims end up dead at the hands of their abuser because they don't speak up for themselves. They don't seek help or outside support. And this is what needs to change. This is what has to change now, because so many people are losing their lives over this. I don't think my roommate's violent, but I don't know that. I don't know her like that. And like I said, so many innocent people who are victims of abuse don't make it through. They don't get to tell their story like I do. And that breaks my heart. I wish I could help them. I wish I could have saved them. But I know there's nothing I can do but get my story out there and share it with the world to raise awareness that this is a real problem. And I don't know how many of you feel like the way I do, but if I can get this out there to just one person, to know that they're not alone and they're struggling, to know that they're not alone in their suffering, then that's what matters to me. If I can make a difference for one human being, then that's what counts. Because too many lives are being lost. Too many souls are being hurt. People lose themselves over this. I've lost myself, but I know that I will heal. I know that I can heal, and so can you. But emotional and mental abuse is no better than physical abuse. It's all the same. You may not have bruises, you may not have physical wounds or scratches or any of that, but you have emotional scars. Yes, with time and with help and with therapy and a better environment, you can heal, you can get better. But the damage is done. And I just want to get this out there because things need to change. People need to start speaking up for themselves. People need to get out of these situations. And sometimes it's so hard for abuse victims to speak up against their abuser because they're afraid of what might happen. And there's been so many cases of victims who have been killed at the hands of their abuser because they chose to speak up and they chose to say something. And that is so scary. And that's why so many abuse victims don't ever speak up or say anything, because they know what can happen. But please do not be discouraged to speak up. Don't speak up in front of them, but speak up. Talk to a friend, talk to a coworker, talk to your therapist, talk to somebody, anybody. You need to get out of that situation. You need to be free. Because as long as you're living in that situation, as long as you're living in an environment with a person like that, you're not going to be happy. You're going to be miserable. I just want you to know that healing is possible. And your feelings are valid. They are valid. You have every reason and every right in the world to feel the way you do. You're not crazy. You are hurt, you are traumatized, and you are sad and scared. And you have every right to feel those emotions wholly and completely. Please don't be ashamed to feel that. Please don't be ashamed to cry. Crying is not a weakness, it's a strength. It shows how much you've been through, yet you're here, you survived. That just shows how strong you are. Please don't give up. I want to get this word out there so we can make a difference and stop this from happening, because nobody deserves to be abused. Nobody deserves to be used or manipulated or gaslighted or hurt in any way at all. All human beings are deserving of love and compassion and empathy and acceptance. No matter where we are in our story, no matter where we are on this journey called life, we all deserve the same respect. And to those of you who have suffered longer than me, it gets better. And I'm so, so sorry for what you've had to deal with. But please, please don't be afraid to speak out. God bless.